You know, they just come in to trying to see about, like, you know, what we coming through the whole council, see, opening up your third eye and seeing things like this before you get yourself into a situation that you can't get out of 20, 30, 40 years almost, it seems like,
Yeah.
for her. So it's like, how long is enough when it comes to this? And it's identifying certain things, you know, who people associated, what they're associated with, understanding their practices, you know what I'm saying? Religious wise, tradition wise, culture. 'Cause that's what gives the realms of spirituality to wreak havoc. You know what I mean? And of course, it starts with the teachings and the faith. Most people in the world believe in more monotheistic type of faith, one God, one being, one deity. You know what I mean? Whatever the word may be. And then they have their story that they correspond with, you know what I mean, to giving them enlightenment.
Right.
You know, many few know, you know, there's three heavy main ones we all know: Christianity, you know, Islam, Judaism, that give it the world, you know, is stamp of trying to be in betterment, like we talked about from the get, you know, on this one, and seeking something as their refuge to bestow their problems on and look for a higher way of thinking and learning. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? But
Right.
it came from also too understanding, you know, certain polytheistic, you know what I'm saying, religions and practices and faiths. You know what I mean? That just comes from knowing history and seeing certain civilizations that used to run the world at one time. From, you know, Egypt to Greece to Rome, you know what I mean? Even the Chinese and the Japanese have all had their own way of seeking some type of spiritual enlightenment to guide them along the way. And you can see it in everything. It's in all their culture. You know what I mean? From the hair to clothing, coloring. You know what I mean? And also to preparing things as far as food, farming, all of that in between. It goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? With spiritual enlightenment. And you know, here at the council, we're not trying to sway you to any religious practice or any faith, you know, based people or anything like that. We just, you know, want to say, you know, yeah, we see y'all if y'all on that path, and we do acknowledge, you know, faith on all platforms. You know what I mean? But we know that there are truths to this spiritual side, and more or less, in a short sense of term, the proof is in the pudding. As far as what's out here in this world, what gives you certain fruits, what gives you benefits and things, you know what I mean, to your body, for your body, and for your mind. And then your spirit, most importantly, will line up because that's where it started from. So, you know, definitely, you know, if you on that spooky side with it, if you know, don't want to go because you heard this, that, and the third, you would only know until you try for yourself. You know what I mean? And but some people, of course, they think it's uh, more or less in a danger zone if you go somewhere that you ain't never explored on that side, or you went somewhere, you know what I mean, where you can't come back. And it's like, yeah, that is true if you're looking for the wrong things in it. If you're looking for personal voided views in it, you know what I'm saying? It's going to end up giving you a backlash that's not going to be anything you can even fathom. But if you're doing it to understand yourself, where you're at for the plan and direction of there's a higher thing to this, and understanding that, then it becomes easier as you go along on your spiritual journey. And we not no better than anybody. We not trying to claim that here at the council. We just want to say, we see y'all. We understand. We know what's going on. And you see that day in, day out. Um, Most importantly, on these like most holistic places, or most religious faith based places in the world, you see what they go through. Some based on prophecy, some based on like I said, truths, actual things that connect and correlate with religious texts and practices and things like that. And you see that heavily. Most importantly, like we said, the most known in the world right now, the monotheistic um, being of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. The most holiest land right now seems to be going through a lot of turmoil only because of what our ancestors, and around that time decided to do and not do according to what the religious texts of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims say. And of course, you get a lot of backlash, one side or the other, and it's specifics of how to deal with people who don't believe wholeheartedly on this side to the other.
It's a never-ending war.
Right. And of course, when you have that in effect, it makes it easier for the evil in this world to prey upon that and set roots and plant trees of demise and destruction. And all here at the council is we want to take note of people just being able to understand that there is good and there is evil. There is up and there is down. Whatever you may want to call it, so be it. But like we know, these things don't happen by accident.
Not at all.
And everything happens for a reason according to God's plan. Which whom you ever decide to give energy and power to, that's on you. But there is one true living God. And most importantly, we know that the holiest land that is supposed to be the promised land, or the land that where a lot of things go down when it comes to Judgment Day, and when the good fights the evil. And it seems like, I'm not going to lie to you, the time is coming very close. Well, now we're having wars pop up and conflicts left and right. And most importantly, in Israel, in Jerusalem, where it's supposed to be the most holistic land.
There is an uproar.
Yeah. Now
Truly an uproar.
we gave you the update on Facts and No Bullshit 5. And y'all can go check that out at thekingzcouncil.com and subscribe on our YouTube page, the Young Kings Council, where you can find the update on the conflict between more or less the Gaza region of Israel and Jerusalem, and how certain political things aren't lining up there. And people aren't agreeing so heartily with everyone's point of view. The Palestinians, the Muslim Palestinians are coming in conflict with the Israelites. And it's something that's been brewing, for a while. And of course now it's kind of over the brim with everything. So it's time, where another war or episode of disagreement starts to go extreme left and extreme right. And of course, it's mainly in part because of the faith-based region. Um, so yeah, take note of that, people. You know what I mean. Keep in mind of like we said before, how innocent people are coming into harm because of more or less landmines put by the enemy, literally and spiritually. And we'll get into how to identify those more in season 2 probably, and we'll piggyback off of a lot of facts and no bulls correlating to this episode because this is a big topic here.
Very big topic.
That we want to highlight, let alone what the United States has been doing and dealing with and has in its operation of hierarchy of political stature, but the world itself is seeming to fall in lines in similar ways in other areas based off of more than just faith actions. And now it's something to start looking at, because it's some of it's in our backyard, some of it's in other people's backyard. But the fact that we have this affiliation with United States, it's kind of getting fingers pointed at this place, this area, these type of people, and we're starting to see a real live holy war in a sense, what some people would say. Definitely something to keep your third eye open on. Um, I don't know if you want to just say anything else, bro, on that before I go into common sense.
It's just like you stated, everything going on in the world. First of all, it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you believe or you don't believe, what's happening is what's happening. And like Deuce was saying, all these things are going on in the world. It's still going to impact your life. It's going to come to your front door. It's going to dwell within you. How you move, how you think, what you feel, the emotions, all that is due to the things that are going on in our reality, regardless if you want to hide away from it or not. Like, these are the facts. And so, like he stated, it's about being aware of your surroundings, because your body, in a sense, is a temple.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep that temple clean and as pure and as just as possible, so you're able to see these things and acknowledge these things and know these things for you and yours. I said this to y'all before on FNBS. Get your house in order. But in order to get your house in order, it begins with you being able to acknowledge and just not be so quick to disregard or dismiss something that you don't want to believe. Like, that's all I can really say in that regard to that, man. So without further ado, go with the common sense, man.